Let me tell you a story about a man who didn't just take pictures. He captured history in motion. Neil Leifer is one of the most legendary sports photographers the world has ever seen. For over 60 years, his lens has told the stories behind the biggest moments in sports. His photos have graced more than 200 magazine covers, from Sports Illustrated to Time, and each one carries his unmistakable touch. But if there's one image people always remember, it's that powerful shot from 1965. Muhammad Ali, standing tall over a fallen Sonny Liston. That photo didn't just freeze a moment. It roared with energy, drama, and emotion. It's often called the greatest sports photograph ever taken. And that's just one highlight in a career full of them. Neil covered it all. 16 Olympic Games, 12 Super Bowls, 4 FIFA World Cups, and so many iconic boxing matches. He returned again and again to one of his favorite subjects, Muhammad Ali, capturing him nearly 60 times. He started as a staff photographer at Sports Illustrated, then moved to Time, and later contributed to Life and other major publications. Neil wasn't afraid to try something different. He'd mount cameras in the rafters, like at the Astrodome, to get a view no one else even imagined. His boldness and brilliance earned him serious recognition. In 2006, he received the Lucy Award for his work in sports photography. In 2008, he took home the Britain Haddon Lifetime Achievement Award. And in 2014, he made history again, becoming the first photographer ever inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Neil Leifer was born on December 28, 1942, right in the heart of New York City. He grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, in a Jewish family, surrounded by the energy and grit of the city. When he was just 13, something special happened. He discovered photography. It all started with some free classes at the Henry Street Settlement House, the same place that would also spark the careers of photographers like Manny Milan, John Iacono, and even Stanley Kubrick. Early on, Neil found a way to mix two of his biggest passions, sports and photography. As a teenager, he got pretty creative when it came to getting into games. Sometimes he'd push people in wheelchairs just to get in for free. And on his 16th birthday, December 28, 1958, he was right there at the NFL championship game between the New York Giants and the Baltimore Colts, what many now call the greatest game ever played. Neil was in the right place at the right time. He captured the winning touchdown and ended up selling those photos to Sports Illustrated, which kicked off what would become a long relationship with the magazine. By the time he was just 19, he'd already landed his first Sports Illustrated cover. If this is making sense and you're finding it helpful, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel. Thanks for being here. In the 1970s, he didn't stop exploring. He got into strip photography, a tricky technique that let him freeze time in a totally new way. He used it to shoot stars like Gaylord Perry and Billy Kidd, and even high-speed IndyCar races. Then, in 1978, Neil made a big shift. He stepped beyond the world of sports and became a staff photographer for Time magazine. It opened up a whole new chapter for him. He went on to shoot over 40 covers, portraits of world leaders, celebrities, historic events. People like President Ronald Reagan, Pope John Paul II, Mike Tyson, Paul Newman, moments like the centennial of the Statue of Liberty and the launch of the Space Shuttle Columbia. By 1992, he had photographed both the Winter and Summer Olympic Games, Albertville and Barcelona. And when he reached the 2000 Sydney Olympics, it marked his 15th Games, an incredible milestone. As the years passed, Neil slowly began to step back from photography. He turned his attention to filmmaking, though he never fully left the camera behind. From time to time, he'd still take on special projects, like the occasional cover for Sports Illustrated. And in 2018, another dream came to life. He premiered his documentary Nearies, The Dream at the End of the Rainbow at the Sheen Center in New York. It was a special night with guests like Cardinal Timothy Dolan, former Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and author Mary Higgins Clark, all coming together to celebrate a story close to Neil's heart. You know, when you look back at Neil Leifer's journey, it's not just about the photos, it's about the passion behind every single frame. The love for sports, the curiosity, the discipline, the eye, it was all there from the very beginning. Boxing and football were his favorites, not just because of the action, but because of the people. Neil always said boxers and hockey players were some of the nicest athletes he ever met. Rough on the outside, maybe, but real gentlemen when you got to know them. He loved that. He respected it. And they respected him right back. Neil didn't just take pictures. He studied the greats. As a young man, he looked up to photographers like John Zimmerman, Marvin Newman, George Silk, names that to him were giants. And then, one day, he found himself working right alongside them, competing with them, learning from them. That's the kind of story that feels like a dream, and for Neil, it really happened. Photography was different back then. You couldn't just check the back of a camera to see if you'd nailed the shot. You had to trust your gut, worry about your exposure, your focus, and hope that your timing was perfect. Neil used to carry 2 or 3 light meters, just in case one lied to him. That's how serious it was. Every roll of film mattered. Every frame was a risk. But that's what made it exciting. That's what made it an art. Neil also had a beautiful tradition, collecting photographs from the photographers he admired. Not just names in a book, these were his heroes. Their work hung on his walls, each one a reminder of the legacy they left behind. Neil never stopped honoring the craft, whether behind a camera or directing a film, whether chasing light or chasing a story. He was always pushing forward, always learning, always chasing something meaningful. And maybe that's the real legacy of Neil Leifer. It's not just the images, although they're unforgettable. It's the way he captured the soul of a moment, the way he respected his subjects, the way he treated photography not just as a job, but as a lifelong conversation with the world. He showed us that the best photographs don't just show you what happened. They make you feel it. They take you there. And because of that, Neil's work will always matter. Not just to the world of sports photography, but to anyone who believes in doing what they love with heart, honesty, and joy.